We shot free throws well, and we're not a turnover team. We don't turn the ball over much, as we had 7 for the game. So it was a good win. Beautiful place. By far, the job they did was amazing, and it's just a spectacular place. Right size, everything is first class.
Coach, good first half, good start to the second half, but then Fairfield went on. I think it was an 18-4 run. What was different in that part of the game?
Well, what happens, like, we're an excellent pressing team, you could see that. But when you don't score, you can't press. So if we're not shooting a decent percentage, you can't get the press on. And that's been our Achilles heel the whole year. We've said it we're not a great shooting team. And Nelly missed a lot of inside bunnies that he should make. Once we could get our press on, then it'd be excellent, but we couldn't get it on. But the press, I thought, was great the entire night. We played very good defense, and certainly we didn't shoot the ball as well as we can. But when you lose Quinn, he's your best three-point shooter, it hurts the team.
Coach, they took 14 threes in that first half. They hit one of them. They only took 6 in that second half. Did you feel like that they were going to go with Supreme Coco a little bit more in that second half to attack you?
Well, I think if you're shooting 7%, Jay's nobody's fool. I think you got to go away from the three, and you got to try to drive more, which they did. Try to go inside more. They made good adjustments, but you shoot 7%. If you're going to try to do that in the second half, you'll probably be in last place in the NBA.
How much was that a part of the scouting report? I mean, Fairfield hasn't shot the ball.
It's interesting. We're a better shooting team than our statistics look, and so are they. They're a much better shooting team than we are, because their guys can shoot. Long can shoot. Wojcik can shoot. Leach is decent. But they're shooting a low percentage. Like, Quinn Zielinski's our best shooter by far in every drill. I think before he got hurt, he was shooting 27% from the three. It's just one of those deals in one of those years where it happens. If they start making their shots with Jay as a coach, they're going to beat anybody. And this league is I felt last year we were a much better basketball team. This year you can flip a coin. In Atlantic City, we have no bench. Everybody's the same. I think somebody said Siena and Quinnipiac both lost today. I think, is that true?
Did,
yeah. So it's a league that's very close, and anybody could win it. Anybody.
Coach, it seemed like the players were going for the inside, trying to get in the paint, try to drive the ball. Danis, Jenkins doing that throughout 18 points. Was that kind of the plan, to try to go inside?
Well, we run a lot of motion, and then we try to go downhill off pick and rolls. I had to go away from Nelly because it's just one of those nights where it wasn't going. I mean, he had wide open layups and weren't going down, and so we had to go away from that a little bit. But Nelly was rebounding the ball, and that's the good thing.
With Nelly, how much of that do you think is conditioning at this point in the season? You guys are down inside. You don't have as much.
He doesn't have great vertical leap. Now, if he can get an athletic stuff, like he made the one great move off the left shoulder and got up, but if he's like trying to back the guy in with contact, he doesn't have great hops off that vertical leap. But if he's free to jump with 1 or 2 steps, he can jump because he's very long as well. So it's just one of those things. He was trying to bump and grind with the defensive player, and that's not his game.
You guys are now 16-7, and you're in fine place in the league. What are you looking for those last 8 games?
What I told them going into this, I did it at Kentucky. I did not do it in my 17 years at Louisville. I said, what we did in February, we played 2-game championships, semifinal and final. So yes, on Friday was the semifinal game of the Atlantic City tournament, and tonight was the final. So we won our first championship. I said, you don't just show up in Atlantic City and prepare. I said, so we played our first championship. Next week we'll play our second championship. I did that at Kentucky. Now, I'm not sure the exact number, but I believe we were 19 or 20-1 in conference play, in a conference tournament play. And I know the only loss was the one that I was begging to lose. I benched Antoine Walker the entire second half, my best player, for saying nothing. Just hoping we'd lose one game, because our average margin of victory in a tough SEC was, I think, 24 points, average. So when we lost to Mississippi State at the buzzer, with a guy on the ground just threw it up, I was the happiest man. I knew a championship was ours. I really felt that way. I wish I could say the same for my team here. I did have 8 guys play in the NBA from that team. And my 13th man, Nazir Mohammed, played 18 years in the league. So we're a little bit different with this team, but we're growing. So I want to win all these 2-game championships, to answer your question.
You got Buffalo coming up next week. That's probably the toughest trip in the league with the two games in 3 days, very far away. How are you guys going to get prepared for that? And obviously you lost one of the games up there last year.
I don't think it's Buffalo. I don't think it's the snow. I don't think it's like this is a great atmosphere. Okay, so you go down and you have one preparation, and they both are so different. Both those teams are so different. And Iona, for some reason, has never had great success in Buffalo. Stevie Mass was telling me tonight at Manhattan, he swept them last year. So different matchups. I'm only here 3 years, so I don't have enough statistical data to say whether Buffalo's bad on me as well. We didn't play Buffalo during the COVID. So Niagara and Canisius are two good teams. They can beat anybody in this league. And as you saw tonight, anybody can beat anyone.
Obviously, the midseason injury for Walt. How would you assess where he is right now going into this group?
He's 100%. That really hurt us when he went out. We were not the same. We were playing great basketball early on in the season. Then when you have Walt and Quinn, you're a pretty good team. Now you go 9 deep. But injuries are part of the game. We're a little unlucky this year, but we've had Berrick out almost a month. We've had Walt out 3 weeks. We've had Quinn out for the season. We've had Michael Jefferson out for a month. And our freshmen aren't ready. So we're about 6.5. I'll say Parker's a half right now, deep, and that's not good.
There's been a couple of close calls, obviously. I mean, the Ryder game, they came back on you. The Manhattan game went into overtime.
Yep.
Today, Fairfield was making a little bit of a run, but you guys only missed 1 free throw today. How much of a message? How much is that going to be a part of the post-game talk?
Well, that's a little bit of a surprise. We're decent. I think more the consistency in the way we play is we don't turn the ball over. When we play fast, we press. Our press was great, but what did we turn it over today? 7 times in the game. So that's pretty good. They turned it over 15 times. So anytime you can double your opposition, it's a good thing.
Coach, we talked about a Friday night Shima. He's getting open out on the perimeter. Went 0 for 4 today. He's effective inside. What are you working with him on offense? What do you want him to do?
All the shots are good shots. He can make them. The problem we have with him is he can't rebound. He's 7 feet and he's getting pushed around. He's too light. Now we're working our way. When he was 218 last year, he was our best big man by far. But he's lost 25 pounds. And now he gets pushed around. All those rebounds at the end of the game were his rebounds. But he gets pushed. So we've got to get him up somehow. By the term, we've got to get him over 200 pounds. He's just too thin. So it's not his offense. He'll make some shots, but he's physically too weak right now.
Rick, you look like you had a tough time on the board today. Outside of Nelly, the rest of the guys a little tough on the board. You get out rebounded.
Well, I know you follow us, right? We get out rebounded every game, so this is not nothing new. No, look. I just talked about Osborne's weakness. Cruz is a 175-pound freshman. Danis Jenkins is a 178 junior. Walter's a good rebounder for a guard spot. He's a good rebounder. We're just physically not an imposing team. Now, when Quinn left us, he was the leading scorer and rebounder on the team. So you just got to live with it. But Osborne to play 30 minutes and come up with 3 rebounds. Now sometimes there's not offensive rebounds there because you're shooting a great percentage. We're not shooting a great percentage.
Right.
So
maybe hoping Io can help you out in rebounds along
Who's
the way.
that?
Suduka.
Yeah, he can rebound. He just doesn't know the offenses and defenses. It's a great kid. He's going to get it. And the way I keep encouraging them is, I know you're disappointed you're not playing, but I had 2 freshmen at Louisville that didn't play. One was a 2-time back-to-back MVP. Only Patrick Ewing and Peyton Seaver did that in the Big East. The other one was a 2-time All-American, Russ Smith, and both didn't play as freshmen.
Right.
So it's a learning experience, and for him and Silas Sunday, coming from another country, it's even more of a learning experience. But you're right, he can rebound. Learning the plays and learning the defense. Scouting to these guys is like chemistry to them, because they don't scout in high school. And you're going over every fade scheme, every detail, when you switch, when you front, changing defenses. You're in a white, you're dropping to a black, now you're in a fist. You should see their heads when you talk to them. It's going around, round and round.
Thank you.
No, thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Thanks, Coach.